Stangibelisco here. I just got back from a short noontime swim, something hopefully to relax me a little bit. Been a little tense lately for a variety of reasons. And in the locker room, I noticed that someone had a cell phone. Well, big deal, you say. Everybody has a cell phone. But in the locker room, and that thing went off twice in the space of about 5 minutes. Somebody has a message for them that people have these trivial messages, oftentimes meaningless messages. Occasionally, they have some meaning, and once in a while, they are indeed important. But for the most part, they're just so much superfluous junk. Most of the information we get, as a matter of fact, on the internet and in our communications is junk. Most of the time that we spend on the internet, in my opinion, or a great deal of it anyway, is wasted. And yet we demand higher and higher speeds, more and more bandwidth, more and more data. Now, there's a difference between data and there's a difference between data and information. And there's a difference between information and intelligence, or true, useful information. Useless versus useful. I'd say 99% of the stuff we get on the internet these days, emails, junk mails, communications, 99% of the time we spend is wasted when you think that you could really be doing something better with your time, like, or at least I could, like swimming or hiking. Today is a rather cool day, but an ideal day for a walk in the woods of the black holes of Dakota Territory. Whatever suits your fancy, but get away from all of these electronic devices. Everybody has a cell phone these days. You see one sitting on almost every locker room bench next to the person getting prepared or unprepared for their workout or whatever it is they do sometimes. And everywhere else too. There's a problem with cell phones going off in churches, libraries, otherwise peaceful places. Too much information, information proliferation, data glut, data overload. Our President Donald Trump talks about fake news. Well, I'd say that 99% of the information on the internet is fake information anyway. It's wasted time. I just got a message from my automobile insurance carrier, not surprisingly, saying that there was something about my policy that had changed, or about my credit score that had changed. I'm not sure, but it was an encrypted message, and I had to log into it, create a brand new website and log into it and get all this information from that. How do I know that's even legit anymore? It could be an attempt to steal information from me, vital personal information. The internet is becoming more and more of a waste of time, and in fact, more and more of a destroyer of our time, like watching YouTube's by Stan Gibilisco, for example. But more seriously, all these devices, all these gadgets, all these things, are we really happier with them? Are our lives really richer than they were, say, 100 years ago? Or could it perhaps be that life was actually richer 100 years ago or 200 years ago, when we didn't have all of these gadgets and goojits and gobbledygook to contend with? 99% of the stuff we get on the internet is crap, in my opinion. Half of the remaining 1% is, well, I don't know. You break it down, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, there's nothing like good old-fashioned conversation in real time with real people, with the cell phones either absent or at the very least switched off. With all of these dings and dongs and I could say more, but I'd probably get cited for indecency. I'm a little bit peeved, as you can see, by this, but I'm not going to let it bother me too much. There's no law says I have to log into this special website that I have to create in order to get some new information. Nobody says I have to do that. Nobody says you have to watch my videos either. If you want to shut it off now, shut it off. But what I'm saying is the genuineness, the depth, and the meaning of our lives are diminishing and diluting in favor of garbage, thanks to our beloved internet, information proliferation, information overload, data glut. Let's flush it and go for a nice walk in the woods or a swim at lunchtime, as I just did. Whatever suits your fancy, whatever except cell phones in the locker room, cell phones in church, in the libraries, cell phones in hospitals, everywhere. You can't get away from them, except when you can. And that is the way I plan to live my life. Less and less superfluous rubbish, less and less fake information, more and more true depth and meaning, more rainbow trout and less, oh, I don't know, mashed potatoes, whatever suits your fancy, but it's just gotten well beyond the point of ridiculosity, the threshold of ridiculosity. And I think it's time for me to have a little pudding, probably made out of semi-frozen fruit smoothie, and then take a nap in the house I'm still lucky enough to have, here in the black holes of Dakota Territory, United States of Abundance. Stan Gibilisco is signing off. Did that make any sense? I sure hope not. So long.